Last episode, I left things in the top 8 of the Champions League with one game against Rennes in 23rd to go. This is awkward, isn't it? Yeah, we're playing in the first knockout round today. Yes, folks, how is it going? And a warm welcome back. It's Wanderers FC, and we are back in February. I didn't want to be back here today. Champions League first knockout round. We're taking on Everton. Sadly, however, I don't think for the first game, at least, Jonathan Banks is going to be playing against his former club. He's still injured. And to make things worse, we're without our first choice centre-backs today in Ashley Phillips and Alfie Dorrington. Phillips is only out for a short while. Dorrington is injured for 2 to 3 months. Damn. And to be honest, February is looking like such a pivotal month in our season. Ordinarily, this is a month where you have some high-stakes games, but your season doesn't really feel like it relies on it. This one definitely does. Today, we're doing the 2 games against Everton in the Champions League knockout round. We then have the EFL Cup final against Tottenham. Obviously, Cup final, always big. And then the small matter of Newcastle at home in the FA Cup. We knocked out Arsenal in the last round, and our reward this year is a battle against the team currently second behind us in the league. If there's a silver lining to be had, Newcastle have slipped up a little lately, and they've also got Man City in their next game. Anyway, as for our own form, it's been okay. We've only played 2 league games since last episode, as well as, the aforementioned Champions League game against Rennes. We drew 1-1 in this game. The only reason we scored was because of an own goal. I feel like the match momentum at the bottom perhaps suggests we were the better team. It's kind of on me. I played a very rotated team for this game, and the rotated team did not perform. As for things elsewhere, 3-1 against Leicester was nice. Akenna, Steele and Gavin Wallace with the goals in that one. That was a rotated team yet again, because we had the EFL Cup final against Newcastle, which I feel like looks deceptively close, but I was very nervous at the end. We had a 1-goal advantage, a 1-0 win in the first leg away from home. In the second leg, we were 4-0 up after half an hour, and I was having a party. I'll be honest, I went and got a coffee, went downstairs, came back half-time. They got 1 goal back. I wasn't going to worry. Then Thiago Fernandez got a hat-trick for them, and it finished 4-4. And granted, their last goal came in the 88th minute, so there was only a couple of minutes of squeaky bum time at the end. But my oh my, it should have been a lot more comfortable than it was. And most recently, we took on our opposition in today's Champions League game. In Everton in the league, a 6-3 win at home. Brennan with a hat-trick. Nicky Meredith, of course, with 2 goals for them. Nicky Meredith has 7 goals in the Champions League for Everton. We're doing battle against our former man today. And like I mentioned, Newcastle have been our main rivals, and we have got this FA Cup game against them upcoming. Worth noting, though, they didn't manage to slip up against Aston Villa. Of course, we've lost against Aston Villa this year, so I'm not going to judge them for that. Villa, a good little team, but it has just opened up a tiny little bit of breathing room. Now, I suppose the issue I've got at the moment is the free striker system existed prior to Banks coming in, and the reason I decided to go with, obviously, the changing system where we play with a centre attack in mid was primarily because we had Banks and an issue at centre-back. The issue I've got today is I've not got Banks, and I've got an even bigger issue than normal at centre-back because our first choice players in Dorrington and Phillips are out. Banks is technically fit enough for the bench. He could play 45 minutes. Ideally, I don't really want to risk him. And as for things at centre-back, it is a little makeshift. I mean, it's still a good defence, don't get me wrong. Brian Henderson is going to slot in at right centre-back. Mick Garry, who played left centre-back for a lot of last year, is going to come back and play in this area of the pitch. Truthfully, when I played him there last year, he wasn't exactly inspiring. And while Jared Branthwaite is going to be playing against his former club, we've actually got a few former Everton players in our ranks. This man played for over a decade at Everton, a player they're very familiar with, and we are going to call upon him in this big game here. It is worth noting we have got a trip to the bridge in between the 2 Everton games. We're not going to worry about that today. Instead, I just need to worry about the Champions League knockout rounds. Last year, we won 1 knockout round. The year before that, we went out in the quarterfinals. Of course, we now have an extra knockout round to play. Maybe we can use this as a chance to build up some momentum before, we take on a better team. Granted, I'm definitely not going to underestimate Everton. And in terms of tactical shape, we are going to go with the 3 striker system. With Banks out injured, I just don't really have a better centre attack in mid to call upon. It does mean it's going to be Barrett, White and Sheldon, the 3 Musketeers, who between them haven't exactly been in the best of form. Of all the players, Sheldon has been the man who's been a bit of a revelation lately. In an emergency, would I bring on Banks? Would I risk him against his former club for 45 minutes? I want to really confidently say no. Anything could happen in this game here. Meredith is up top for them. Okay, Everton in possession, of course, at their new stadium in this save game. No longer at Goodison Park, much like they won't be in real life following the conclusion of this year. And I'll tell you what, it looks like quite a fortress here, doesn't it? I feel a little bit intimidated by all the blue. I think in this game here, if we avoid defeat, we put ourselves in a really good position in the second leg with a few players hopefully coming back from injury to really take the game to Everton. We're 23 minutes into this game here, and we do have potentially our first chance of the game on the far side. Ajaria inside to Flood. He plays it to Wallace. Gavin Wallace, oh my word. It's a P-roller. James Trafford in goal for them has got his positioning all wrong there. He thought that was going wide, and it has snuck in. We get the satisfying reverse angle because Football Manager just reverses the camera angle in Europe. How did this effort from Wallace sneak in? It's in off the post. The keeper thought it was going wide. Right, goal scored. Praise the players and let them know they're bloody beautiful. And we'll hope we can step up our game defensively here. Patterson to Owen. Back to Elliott. Misses the tackle. Wallace puts in half a challenge, but it falls back to Owen, who shoots. That was not far over. Free kick for us now. Barrett has been poor lately. Really poor. He was such a big player for us last year. I'd love him to step up here. His shot is parried, but it could fall to Wallace for another. I'll tell you what, Wallace has got his shooting boots on today. He is loving it back in at left wing back. Of course, our left back, when we play the 4-2-3-1, hasn't exactly produced in the same way the right back and the wing backs in the normal system, the way we play with three strikers have. But today, Ajari and Wallace are liking getting forward. Sheldon's looking to get forward here. Flood to Ajaria. Speaking of the devil, doesn't quite get there. Hatswell misses a tackle as well. Everton looking to build it out and actually knocking the ball around really nicely here. Nicky Meredith, our former man in the wide area. Back to Meredith. Shut him down if we can. The number 10 is looking to, inflict some revenge, I imagine. Elliott could pull the trigger from range, does. Everton are having chances in this game, but they are long shots, and I am fine with that. What I'm not fine with is this. Corby Hartswell's just picked up an injury. That's bad. There's not a lot of other ways to phrase it, really, other than that. I think I'm going to bring in Mick Hugh for this game. And Segundo Volante. What's the injury? Potential foot injury. It just doesn't sound good, does it? I'm sick of injuries. I thought February was when it was meant to calm down fixture-wise. Not the case for us this year. And whilst we're ahead of the break, I'm now just worrying about the Hatswell injury. I'm going to tell the players I'm happy for them to keep it up. Truthfully, there's a couple of players I look at here thinking, you're not doing so hot. Andy White on a 6.5. You know what, Andy? I was going to give you time, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to bring in Steele. And I'm going to take off Sheldon as well and bring in Bernard Brennan. Two players who have been in really, really good form for us when we call upon them. Whilst we have got injuries here, there and everywhere, it feels like, I suppose the good news is we have an absolute abundance of goal scorers in our ranks. And while with Steele and Brennan in the team, I'm hoping now we can maybe find another breakthrough. We've got a set piece here. It's going to be Barrett over it. He's already had one free kick that we saw parried. Tell you what, there's just a man free. Just give it to Sean Steele and he scores here. What are they doing? They're not marking him. Sean Steele is completely open. I should be able to shout at Barrett and let him know. Because he's never going to score directly, is he? It goes over. 20 minutes left of this game here. I've made those changes. I really bigged up the attackers and not a great deal has come of it. I just shouted some praise at the players. I'm going to just cancel the shout by doing that. Did you know that cancels the shout? Pro Football Manager tip. Subscribe for more. Ajaria shoots. Trafford saves it. There's 15 minutes left here. Ajari has not been at his best. Townsend actually got man of the match in a game recently, so I'm going to bring him in. Bramthwaite's on a booking against his former club. I'm going to bring in Ronnie Edwards just to see out this game. I don't really want to go down a man with 15 minutes left here if we can avoid it. Well, I'll level with you. It's not exactly been a classic, but this game is still very much finely in the balance, and there could still be a late twist as we approach the 90th minute. There's going to be 6 minutes of added time here. It does feel like a game that is just kind of done, but tell you what, football's never that simple, is it? There might be one last opportunity here, and Everton to bring the ball forward. Wilmot, dispossessed by Barrett, inside to Townsend, fresh off the bench, the right wing back, storming forward through the middle, gives it to Steele. He's offside. I've seen the flag raised. I've seen it. You've seen it. It's not going to count. And with 2 minutes left of the game, I thought we maybe doubled our lead. It's going to be chalked off. We still have a task come the second leg. I think this has been a good professional performance. It's not been flashy. A bit like Liverpool against Man City at the weekend. You know, we've got the result. Was it the most flashy, emphatic performance? Not really. But the game never really looked like we were going to lose it. It's a great result. All that I really care about now is the Hatswell injury. The Gavin Wallace strike, the difference maker. He picked up man of the match as a result. What's the injury for Hatswell? 3 to 4 weeks. And 3 to 4 weeks doesn't sound that long. It's when you realise that is going to mean he misses the EFL Cup final, the FA Cup against Newcastle, and of course the second leg against Everton. That is annoying. Confirmation he is going to miss the EFL Cup final. I mean, Kobe Mainoo is going to be vying for that position, I feel like, alongside Mick Hugh. Defensive mid is definitely an area where I really can't afford for injuries to pile up too much. Anyway, we've got Chelsea at the weekend. They're in 12th. We're in first. Hopefully, we can win that one. We're going to come back at the London Stadium. Is it what's our stadium called? It is just called the London Stadium. It just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like a real stadium, does it? Sounds like what Pez would call Wembley or something. Either way, I'll be back in a mo. We've got a second leg to do battle in. So some good news. We managed to beat Chelsea. Wasn't as simple as I wanted it to be, but we ended up winning 3-1, and Banks came on off the bench to score a penalty. He's slowly coming back to match fitness. Plays 75 minutes of this next game. Oh, and in some more good news, Newcastle are just bottling it. They drew their most recent game against West Ham, but midweek they lost 3-1 away at Man City. Maybe not entirely surprising. City are in third, but as a result of that, we now find ourselves 6 points clear and with a game in hand, which is huge because, yeah, Newcastle had been a pain for a little while. Now, interesting to note here, and I don't know how much stock you can put in this, but fans and pundits, you know, the poll that they've done here, we have a 1% advantage over Everton in this game. 39% think we'll win, 38% think Everton will win, 23% backing the draw. I feel like that's an indicator there. We cannot afford to underestimate Everton today. Now, in terms of team news, I am going to go to the centre attacking mid system with Banks back fit. Another reason to do this is one fewer centre-backs to play, and given our best 2 centre-backs currently being out, that feels sensible. It is worth noting, actually, where is he? He's hiding somewhere here. Ashley Phillips is technically fit. I could play him for this game. Do I play him for this game? Everton are his former club as well. Do I want to drop Henderson? Do I? I'm not sure. I think what's putting me off here is Phillips' recent form before he got injured just wasn't that good. But then again, I'm not sure Henderson's form has been that much better either. I think I'm going to go with Phillips today. That does mean between Branthwaite, Phillips and Banks, we've got 3 former Evertonians in our ranks. Also, Mick Hugh is going to come in and play Segundo Volante. I'm actually going to play him ahead of Kobe Mainoo because he's got 8 goals and 5 assists. He's been very, very good for us this year. Feels a bit weird. I've got used to playing the free striker system for the last few weeks, but we're going back to the 4-2-3-1, which served us well for the first half this season. I feel like Banks has been such a big miss for us here. Ideally, you know, we get a couple of goals ahead. I can take him off sooner than the 75-minute mark. I don't want him to get injured again. Everton are persisting with their 4-4-2 they featured last game. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Meredith is starting for them in this game. So the former player can't score against us. That feels somewhat good. I'm going to shout some encouragement here because a minute in, we're already on the back foot. And now Everton, well, they've got a corner. Owen's going to whip it in. Is Anson there? Anson, of course he's there. Massive jumping reach. He gets it. And yeah, I can confirm there is no Meredith on the bench, which is a blessing, I think. But still, can't afford to underestimate Everton. We need an early goal, ideally. Mick Hugh, Banks. That's why Banks is in the team. That's why Mick Hugh is in the team as well. Turns up with an assist. Hatswell. Well, I was going to say, we don't miss you. I do miss him a little bit. I hope he's not injured for too much more during the remainder of this season. He's still got another 3 weeks out. But in his absence, Mick Hugh's turned up big. And Banks scores against his former club ruthlessly. Given the big games we've got coming up next episode of the EFL Cup final, the FA Cup, and potentially a league game we'll throw in as well for a triple header, getting some momentum going is really, really important. We've kind of had a bit of a splutter, I feel like, throughout December and January. We've not been at our best. We've looked pretty in control of this fixture across the first leg and the opening 10 of this one, but still, there is a job to be done. Bernard Brennan, can you do that job? Not with a cross like that, although Ajaria wins it well. It's back wide with Brennan. Ajaria floats it. Banks is running under it. Andy White is going to keep this play alive. Everton right now are having to defend very deep, and while Banks is cutting inside, gives it to Mick Hugh. And I thought we were going to see a reverse of the last goal. For the last goal, obviously, Banks scored in, Mick Hugh assisted. I almost swapped roles there, but for a save by the goalkeeper. Hopefully, though, we can still make something of this corner as we go for the short routine. Lovely build-up play. He's offside. That is awkward, isn't it? Although it is all action in this opening to the game because immediately the offside free kick is going to be a highlight and it's Barrett wrapping his foot around it. That was not far wide. Trafford with a goal kick. I mean, we're 2 goals to the good. It feels comfortable. The opening 20 minutes have been one-way traffic and yet I don't know. I hope we're not going to live to regret some of the misses we've had. We need to get our shooting boots on and start finishing a little better if we can. Brennan is hacked down. That's not in the box. We don't need a long highlight here, Football Manager. I know it's not in the box. Brennan knows it's not in the box. The only person who doesn't know if it's in the box or not is the referee. Everybody's crowding around him. It's what? I mean, both teams should be fined here. No penalty is the decision. And it remains at 1-0. I mean, we've got the free kick. We're not even going to get shown it. Barrett over a corner. Can he get it in? He's whipping it to the back post. Bramthwaite was there, but Traff has picked it off his head. And now the goalkeeper, the England international goalkeeper as well, the man keeping Anson out of the team, is going to look to distribute it forward. Ajaria, great little header. Brennan keeps it alive in the wide area, plays it inside. Ajaria, Banks. If he's onside, it's such a good run. The bad news is, he wasn't onside. I feel like we've played too well in this game. Things are going too well. We're tearing them apart. We're just not scoring. Lloyd Weston, Flood, Phillips. Is that hit the woodwork? What just happened there? I blinked and I missed from the angle what happened. It's still forward. Casado's blocked it for them. How is this 1-0? I feel like the match momentum really gives you an indicator of how the first half an hour of this game has gone. We're all over them. If anything, I'm just annoyed that we've not scored more. 10 shots, 3 on target. We're not even having more possession here, but the 4-2-3-1, I feel like what it offers offensively is just a bit superior sometimes to the free striker system. We create a lot. I feel like it really gets a lot out of Banks at the shadow striker role. He's constantly just finding space to operate in, and while finding space is Barrett's aim, and it's also his game. He has put it in the back of the net. That was a sensational ball through. Was it Ajaria? Is it onside? Is it going to count? I mean, it's not. The pass here, whoever it was, I think it was Ajaria. Tammy doing Tammy things. This pass is, I mean, from that angle, how has he picked out the man? Weighted to perfection. Great finish. The run was poorly timed. We are still only in the first half, by the way. This football match has had so many highlights, and they've all been in our favour. I'm just waiting for Everton to get one going forward now. Casado being chased back, hounded back towards his own goal. White to Banks. Loads of space. Pulls the trigger. Jonathan Banks scores again. Everton are in the mud. Their former man's on for a hat-trick. What was it? Like £80 million plus Nicky Meredith for Banks? I feel like he could be a difference maker for this season for us. He is just a world-class player. Half-time about to come in this game. We're on the cusp of, 3-0 at the break. It could get worse. It could be 4. Ashley Phillips is going to keep this alive. Ajaria to Flood. Barrett, was he onside there? It's a great finish. He's already had 1 goal disallowed for being offside. I fear this might be another for him. Yeah, it's been one of those days where we're almost creating too much. The goal, not going to count again. Barrett's on for a hat-trick of offside goals now. Pretty simple, I think, this game. At the break, 2-0 up, 3-0 on aggregate. Very happy. McHugh with the ball in the middle. 10 minutes into this second half. We are not easing up, I think it's safe to say. Ajaria drifting into a wide area, skips past his man. Ajaria, by the way, still yet to play for the England national team. That's the biggest disgrace of all. McHugh there goes down in a heap. For a moment, I wondered if there might be a penalty given. Now I'm worrying about the counter-attack, because Calais is bringing the ball forward here. Cutting inside. And oh my word, Caleb Anson's pulled off a ridiculous save. That was almost a goal of the season contender. Everton had that one chance, and all of a sudden, they've got their backs up. They're on the attack. Everton, you're not meant to be doing this. It's 3-0. You're meant to give up. You're meant to just accept defeat so I can rest Banks and sub him off in this game. Instead, well, I was going to say they're on the attack. They've given the ball in a horrific area there to Andy White, who's just on a charge. He gives it to Banks, who gives it to Barrett. He's onside this time. He scores this time. Now he has one. Yeah, it's 4-0. I did wonder for a moment if we were going to see Banks go for a sensational long-range effort for his hat-trick. Instead, though, he was unselfish, pulled the defender across Banks. Barrett left in space. No mistake with the finish. Okay, at this point, we are going to change things up. In fact, you know what? I'm bringing in Kobe Mainu, not Mick Gary. Flood's going to play at shadow striker. Mainu will play at Regista. He's the better creative player there. Bernard Brennan's been a bit quiet. I'm going to make a double change. Sheldon on the left, Akenna on the right. And I don't know if you can tell from those changes, I feel like this is done now. Everton, corner, not like this. Not like, look, we want a clean sheet. We love a clean sheet in this house. No bedwetting, please. We've cleared it away. Sheldon can't win the aerial battle. Not exactly something you expect him to do. Cordoba pings it wide. Back in. I'll tell you what, that's a sensational goal. Is it offside? It's flagged. It's going to be offside. It would have been a goal of the season contender. The crossing was stupendous. The volley in the box was really nice too. but it don't count. 3 goals scored in this game, 3 goals disallowed between the two teams as well. There is 3 minutes of added time. They are going to come and go. This game is done. 3-0 on the night, 4-0 on aggregate, a nice convincing performance. And sadly, because of the way the Champions League is structured, we're not actually going to know for a few weeks who we take on in the next round. So I'll leave that as a mystery for next time. Barrett ends a goal drought of 10 hours without a goal. I mean, that is absolutely mental for a man who was such a crazy goal scorer for us. Despite the fact he's not been scoring, he's got 11 assists in 20 games, so he's not exactly playing poorly. And as you can see, things don't really ease up for us now. In 4 days' time, we have Tottenham, and after that, 3 days later, we take on Newcastle in the FA Cup. 2 massive cup games for us. If we want to do the domestic treble, we're going to need to win those. We've never won the Carabao Cup, and equally, I really want to win the FA Cup. The Premier League looks like it might be swinging in our favour. There's still a lot to play for tomorrow, though. Really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode today. Massive result for us in the Champions League. We make it 1 step further in the competition. And, well, I'm a bit relieved, because having bottled it against Rennes, if we'd gone out in that first knockout round, it would have been awkward. We'll be back tomorrow with a massive episode. Until then, take things easy. It's me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.